Felicia
From the
Michaels,
moment
my
you hear his
princess,
voice, you
has
know
been entertaining
there are gonna be
audiences
problems.
with a unique
Joey
style
Coco Diaz has
of
been rocking
provocative humor
comedy
since the
stages for
90s, all right?
15 years.
With her
You've seen him in
tongue-in-cheek,
films and
she's been
television,
exploring
but
such
his
topics
real
as the
patois, as
dynamics
he's
of the
fond of saying,
male-female
are the
relationships,
stories from
or
his
as we call
past
them here in
and
the
his
studio,
chaotic
dirty
views on
thoughts,
life that will make
and
this
the
podcast
proliferation
a different
of the
beast.
sensual
Raw
feminist.
pain and
She's a little
passion is how to
firecracker
really
rolled up, and that's why I
describe
love
this
her, and that's why you're going to love
New
listening. So
Jersey
tune in, all right?
animal.
Greetings to all you podcasters out there in Podcastville. You got Beauty and the Beast, Felicia Michaels.
Joey Diaz.
What's happening, you sexy animal?
Oh, just gearing up for the holidays,
Shit.
Joey.
Everybody's going bananas with this shit. I always take it one day at a time.
You know, this is going to air right before our Beauty and the Beast live event.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Would you like to tell the audience about our live event?
December 8th, Brea Improv, 714-482-0700, sponsored by Skin Industries, Adam and Eve. I'm raffling off a vaporizer. It's going to be beautiful. You know, Felicia Michaels going to be wearing a little fucking moo-moo. Come on down, 8 o'clock show. I'm excited about this. Myself, you, Daniel Stewart, my man Chris Neff. It's going to be great. It's going to be a party.
It's going to be awesome. We're going to give out T-shirts,
right.
courtesy of our new sponsor, by the way.
Skin Industries. I love them to death. And we're also going to have a special limited edition T-shirt coming out, like a cartoon Skin Industries shirt. So keep your eyes open for that one. You guys could wear us, not only listen to us and the whole fucking thing. And in 6 months, we'll have some underwears with the smell on them so you can smell us too. You follow me? That's how we roll.
But we won't tell you whose smell it is.
That's right. It's guess the fucking funk. You know, guess the muffler stench. If you win, you win $500 to fucking In-N-Out Burger. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow. So, yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm very excited about our new sponsors. That was a crazy meeting we had out in Temecula.
Oh, that was a far drive down there, too.
That was a big, long drive.
Yeah, but it's nice. We took a nice drive. We took the day down there. And it's nice. You have to go out and meet people sometimes, Felicia. It's very important here.
That's right, Mr. Diaz.
Beauty and the Beast. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention. The other night I was doing a gig in San Jose. I want to give a shout out. It was a great week up there. Great night up there. What am I saying? Great week for the Dirtbag Show. Properly named. I was headlining the show. So it was,
it's called Dirtbags?
Yes, Dirtbag Show.
Awesome. I want to do that show.
And it was the first show of the series. You know, they tried a lot of innovative things up there in the Silicon Valley and San Jose Improv. And it was weird because before I left to do the show, Philadelphia was on against the Houston Texans. I know Felicia's looking at me like, what the fuck, Joey?
No,
what
you got to talk
Joey?
about it.
And Michael Vick, single-handedly brought them back. And then he scored a touchdown. And I sat there to watch this kid because this podcast is about second chances, you know?
Yes.
And I'm watching this kid, that fucked up, that I was even pissed at because I'm an animal lover. And now he's on top of the world. And if you watch that game, you could tell that that's Super Bowl material. This kid wins the MVP or they even win the Super Bowl. He's going to turn America around. But it's hope for guys like myself and Felicia and a lot of people who listen to the podcast. Not that you're going to go out and kill fucking dogs and then throw football. But anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
Anything is fucking possible.
Yeah.
So you really have to stop and look at that for a minute. Hey, I'm sitting there looking at him, thinking about those pit bulls, but at the same time, I'm looking at this guy thinking about all the mistakes I made, and here I am, how lucky I am.
Absolutely.
So I don't want to beat this, concept up, but this is what we talk about.
Yes.
And here it is in front of our eyes, and it's so inspiring. It inspires the shit out of me, and I've been in trouble, and I'm fighting it out every day, but I know a lot of people write in, and they're like, hey, man, where do you start?
Been getting some crazy
them,
emails, and I was just going to say that. I'm so sorry to interrupt about, we did get an email like, how do you start? How do you take the first step? What drives you guys to make the first step? Like, what inspires you to do that?
Well, I'll tell you what, man, and I was thinking about this all week because I was starting to sound like a creepy old fuck because that's what I am, but I'm not that creepy. But I was thinking about, before you could even proceed to take baby steps in the direction you want to take in your life, you got to get inspired. Inspiration comes before anything. I never tell people this, but I always wanted to be a stand-up comic, and I love listening to Richard Pryor, and I did my time. And one day it was snowing out, and I was estimating roofs, and I was in my apartment, and I had rented a movie called Punchline, and here I am watching Tom Hanks, who's an actor, and Sally fucking Field, and Chi-Chi, and the other guy, and they're all playing stand-up comics, and it made me pick up the phone and call Wendy at the Comedy Works and get on the open mic. You know, a movie sometimes inspires you. You know,
Absolutely.
You know, anything can inspire you. Anything that inspires you that makes you get, you know, you're teary-eyed. When I seen fucking Julius Erving go from the ABA to the NBA and then get the All-Star Game MVP, when he got it, when they had changed his number to 6 and they got that $6 million, I was a little kid. I remember it was freezing out. I remember putting my fucking park on and going out there and playing basketball because everybody kept saying he's not going to make the transition from the ABA to the NBA. Some people sitting there going, Joey, what the fuck are you talking about? What I'm talking about is anybody who makes a jump in front of you that you look at, whether you agree with or not, and it inspires you to death. Lady Gaga inspires me. As fucking retarded, as crazy as she is, you know, and as a Madonna, whatever she is, clone, she inspires me when I see that, man, because she took the bull by the fucking horns.
Oh, absolutely,
So
yeah.
that, you know, so that's what I'm talking about here.
Yeah, I mean, I totally get what you're saying. I'm totally annoyed with her on the radio, but I understand what you're saying is that you have to admire people that are out of the norm and are like, fuck it, and take what they want, and she's definitely one of them.
One of my friends said they were out a couple of weeks ago doing karaoke, and that 50 Cent walked in. And he actually karaoke'd one of his own songs, and he was fucking horrible.
Oh, really?
He said he was horrible, but the moral of the story is, while he got this launch to be a rapper, he sold his vitamin water and made $50 billion fucking dollars. So it doesn't matter how bad of a rapper he really is.
Right.
Read the subtext of the story. He got a green light to do something, and he ended up selling vitamin water, which is really not who defines him, but it's going to keep him in fucking hats and lip syncing for the rest of his fucking life. You know what I'm saying? He could jump up and down and fuck Chelsea and whatever the fuck he's doing. It's not my business.
Right.
But it's just so weird how sometimes people get an opportunity and take a different course with it and bang it out. You know? It's very inspiring. So it was weird. He goes, yeah, he don't need to fucking rap. He just signed a $50 billion deal with some water company. He's selling vitamin water. Can you imagine that shit? All those years when I was a kid, and I would take the Fred Flintstone vitamin and dip them in your water, and you stir it, and the water turned purple, and I was drinking it. I could have been fucking 50 cents.
You could have been 50 cents,
and I never thought of that
Joey.
shit. It always, as soon as I heard that shit, he's genius, putting vitamins in water and then drinking it on the way to fucking the train. That's genius shit. That's inspiration. That's American ingenuity.
Absolutely. And when we got that email this week asking, you know, how do you guys move forward? I was thinking, and I've never talked about this publicly before, but Joey knows I have this thing called Crohn's disease, and it's something I inherited from my mother. And when I read that young man's email, it made me think about, because I was sick 2 years ago, and I've been very lucky with my Crohn's disease because there's new medicine all the time for it, way luckier than my mother was. And but when I was sick 2 years ago, I was in the hospital, and it was bad, and I was in for like a week and a half. And I remember my little boy came to visit me, both my boys, but my little one had a hard time looking at me and talking to me, and then he left. And then that night I got this, and I was super fucking depressed. I mean, like, you hear old people groaning, and they were trying to take some old woman off to a nursing home, and she fucking knew she was going into a nursing home in the middle of the night. It was like a hit squad, you know what I mean, taking the old lady out. And this is at Cedars, and it's a nice place, but I got really down because you get depressed, and I was really, really sick. And that night, my little boy called me, and he was like 6 or 7 at the time, crying. And that was my moment where I was like, you know, I gotta fucking do something. And all I did, I got up, threw up, and walked around the hospital ward one time, you know, around the big circle. The next day, I got up, didn't throw up, walked around again. And then every 3 hours, I would try to get up and walk around. And when I got that email, when we both got that email, it made me think about that, about sometimes you have to look at your loved ones that are around you, and you have to just get up. You know what I mean? And I know, I'm sorry if that sounds lame or girly or whatever, but that was a big moment because I had a lot of issues for the fact that my mother was always ill. I never remember my mother not being ill. And I just remember, you know, hearing my little boy cry and being so concerned, and like, I can't lay here and just let this beat me up. I gotta fucking get up. And that's, you know what I mean? So inspiration can be movies. Inspiration can be the loved ones you have around you. Inspiration can be a book. Inspiration can be your desire of what you really want to do. You can get inspiration from anything. It's important to find your inspiration, and that's all I got to say.
No, that's an amazing story. You had told me about that before, but I didn't look at it from that perspective as a mom. You know, really,
right?
Hey, man, Health is the most important thing at the end of the fucking day.
Right.
You know, you bump into a friend of yours. I was doing a commercial one day, and one of the kids got a call while we were shooting a commercial that one of the things he had was cancerous. And we still had another half a day to shoot. And this guy shot the rest of the commercial. And since that day, I've always called this guy and kept in touch with him. He's alive, and
Right.
and it makes me think about your health and what you eat and what you smoke and what
absolutely.
you know. Health next to is everything. You know, every day I lost this weight, and every day I still, you know, today I eat a little meat, a little fruit. You know, instead of eating 2 eggs, I eat 1 egg. I eat a little bit more cereal in the morning.
Right.
You watch, because Jesus, these are the years that you want to be in good health, man.
Yeah.
From your late 40s to your 80s. You know,
Right.
I live till I'm 80. I got some shit to do.
Right.
So,
Yeah. So if anyone is struggling with how do you take the first step, you know, find something that inspires you or moves you.
we had a very interesting ride yesterday, Felicia and I. Felicia's one of the only girls that get in the car and not fucking agitate the shit out of me. She's
But
all right.
I can't like, you know, do things like notice when you fart.
No, I didn't
Did
fart
you-
yesterday.
Oh, really?
I
Because there was
mean-
one section I was like, I think Joey just.
No. You know, you got the car manure and the.
Because
fucking
I've been
plane.
in the car with you before,
Oh,
and
please!
it's been like,
I'll
you
drop
know.
a good fart from here. Yeah, you're in your own car.
Yeah.
You gotta scratch a nut and cut a fart. You know, a good fart where you open up your zip and the fart comes out of the front. You follow me? Because you're sitting on your ass. You'll see your boys will sit down and go, Mom,
dude,
you want to smell this fart?
I already know. They
Boys
fart
are
all
the
the time.
kings. We're the kings, and we love it. We love it. You
Yeah.
can live to be 100 and you still enjoy it. You know.
Yeah.
Look at this, grown people talking about farts. Cut this shit out.
I know. So, but the ride was very nice yesterday.
You know, if we went down and talked to some people, and we'll announce it now. We're going to start working with Skin
Yes.
Industries.
Yes.
My friend Tony Hernandez down there, Anthony,
Yes.
and Al Border. I've known them for years, and we're going to do a Beauty and the Beast T-shirt that's going to sell with our little design and logo, so you guys can not only listen to us, but you can wear us. That's how.
You could wear us, and there's going to be a link soon on our website where you can
Yeah.
go right to Skin and order right from Skin.
And Felicia's going to put perfume on and rub the shirt on her face and on her breast before she sends it to you.
Yeah.
So when you put the shirt on, Felicia's there with you. You follow me?
Right.
So when
And
you
then-
smell that cologne, that's Felicia's boobies.
No one wants to smell my boobies.
Sure they do. I would smell your boobies if you let me.
I'm not going to let you smell my
I don't
boobies.
want to smell your boobies, but if you said smell my boobies, see if they smell
Right
funny.
now, if I said smell my boobies, you would smell my boobies.
Oh, sure.
All right,
I'd
you got to
smell-
come over here
I'd
and smell
smell
my
your little
boobies.
nipples and shit. You just
But
give
do
it
you do you have a good sniffer? Like
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. Oh, I can sniff a
Or
tit.
does the nipple have to be up in the left
No, I like
nostril,
the, I like the
like a
tit.
line in
I wanna-
1986?
You know me, I want to smell the milk. You follow me? I
like,
want
like if you sniffed my nipple, would it get all sucked up in there, and
No,
then
no,
I'd
I
get a
want
raspberry
to
on the
sniff the
very
milk.
tip?
You follow me? I want to
There's
feel.
no milk in my nipple.
Come on, you might have a little low-fat milk in there.
There's no milk in my nipple.
It might be left over from the 80s. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my god!
I always think that women have a little bit of milk in there, just a little bit. If I
It's
could just
an
get
empty
to
bottle, dude.
it. Nah. Some women have a little bit of milk in
Well,
there.
if they've just had a baby, yeah, maybe.
Nah, I think they still do. Like,
No.
just for
I don't know.
emergency situations.
You're not born with milk in your boobies. That would be the only situation.
You know, I don't care how old you are. Whenever you squeeze a boobie, that's what you think about. Like,
Right?
you're
Can you
like,
say
"This-
that again?
No matter how old you are, when you squeeze a boobie, that's what
Okay,
you think
maybe I just want you to say squeeze the boobie.
Squeeze a boobie. When you squeeze it,
Squeeze
you
a boobie.
Oh, when you squeeze, that's what you think about. You know what I'm saying? Because there's just so much you could do with boobs. After a while, you're like, maybe I'll smell them.
Did you ever do coke off a woman's body?
Oh, please, yeah, it's disgusting.
No, tell me about it.
It's just disgusting. It's like crazy shit you do at fucking 5 in the morning when you're whacked out.
So what part of the body?
Everything: titties, asshole, pussy.
On the asshole, though.
Oh, please! I'll put
Really?
a rock on your ass and lick it off and shit. I'm a freak like that. I'll get your asshole numb for a week. You can eat Mexican food with a green light.
I don't know if I'd want to have a numb asshole.
I used
Some
to
chick
put-
let you put coke on her.
Oh,
on her.
women always listen. At 5 in the morning, I can light a chick on fire if they're doing coke 3-4 hours. They'll let you. They don't give a fuck.
Or if it's snowing outside and you're near a
Yeah,
tunnel.
they don't give a fuck. They'll let you put a little rock in there, monkey. No guy ever put a little rock on your
No
monkey.
guys ever put a little rock in my monkey.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible.
Really?
Yeah.
So how many rocks have you put in a woman's monkey?
A couple monkey. A couple. There's
Yeah.
a couple women that like it.
Yeah.
You freeze up the noodle.
Right.
And they just...
Are you sure it was rocks or was it aspirin and
No, it was
aerosol?
rocks. It was rocks. I mean, it's just... I can't even imagine, like, a woman enjoying that. Like, if you told a woman in the daytime, you want me to freeze your little monkey? Like, she'd say no to you. Like, why would I want that? But at 4 in the morning, it just seems so, you know, like, listen, I'm going to take this Coke and put it on your monkey and lick it. And they're like, okay. And you're like, you know, then they put champagne on it. Stupid shit, you know? The next morning, you're like, I can't believe I put a gram on a pussy. I want my $40 back. I put a gram in your fucking monkey last night. You know, I know. It kind of feels weird. Yeah, it should. It's fucking from the Colombian. It should be itchy, cocksucker.
What happens when you put Coke on a woman's vagina? Does the vagina get uptight and paranoid? Does it start wanting to look out the curtain for cops? Like, what happens?
The fucking eyeball closes, right?
Yeah.
It dilates for starters. The monkey dilates.
The clit's all like jittery.
Yeah, it's
You
terrible.
know, the clit wants to write a letter to its father.
The funniest guy ever is Otto and George. Because Otto had a dummy. And the ventriloquist has a dick, a big black dick. And he actually shaved a notch out of the big black dick. And he could put Coke in there and snort off the fucking guy's dick. How strong?
In real life?
In real life.
Oh,
Otto
really?
and George, yeah.
I was going to ask.
Otto and George has a dummy
Really?
that has a black dick. And he shaved a little slotch in there so women could do Coke off the ventriloquist black dick. Okay, Felicia, think about if you're in a guy's house.
Right.
You're doing blowing them. You're ready to. That's tremendous foreplay. Like, listen, before we do what we got to do, I want you to do something for me. You're like, what? Snort Coke off my dummy's dick. If you snort Coke off my dummy's dick, I'll make you do anything. I'll light you on fire. I'll staple your little pussy to your asshole.
Well, this is where I get a little confused, because if I was with a ventriloquist and he said, I really want you to snort some Coke off my dummy's dick, right?
You make him talk like the dummy while he was
No,
snorting.
but I would do it
starters.
for the sake of irony. I wouldn't do it for pleasure for him. I'd be like, fuck
Put the
yeah.
camera on. This is going on
I
YouTube.
know, yes.
I'm going for 20 million hits.
I know.
I'm doing a line of Coke off a dummy's dick with a carved fucking helmet on there.
Yeah, not to turn the ventriloquist on, but just like, fuck, if you're going to, you know, if I'm going to bring out my inner freak, it's going to be a statement, you know? And the dummy's dick, first of all, I'd be pissed because the dummy's dick can't be that big.
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, just think about what type of foreplay that is when you ask a girl, hey, sniff a line off my dummy's dick, and the girl looks at you like, where is this going? Like, where is this going? What's next? I'm snorting a ventriloquist dummy's dick, Coke off the dummy's dick. What is the next move in my life?
But let me ask you this question. Did you actually see George... did you actually see the dummy where they snort the Coke?
No, I just heard about it.
Oh,
People
you
like
just heard
ask him
about it.
next time you see him. And I worked with him one time in Poughkeepsie, and he was doing like the late show, and I went back to my room and got hammered and started going and watching him. I caught like the last 3 minutes, and I was crying. I really was. He's fucking
funny.
crazy.
He's awesome, by the way.
Just his whole patois of that stuff about him, you know, lived on top of an apartment on the Lower East Side. He had a phone booth outside, and he could hear the phone ring. That was his phone. So you had to book him. You had to call that payphone
Right.
on Tuesdays between like 12 and 3. Like, how cool is that?
No, he's awesome.
Like, he didn't give a fuck. Call
Yeah.
a payphone if you want to book me, all right?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm
that's
too busy up in my apartment
Yeah,
getting
I'm
some
too
chick
busy.
to snort.
Every
Coke off
club
my
he
dummy's
goes to, there's
dick.
always craziness.
Yeah.
And I respect that in people sometimes. Like, there's just some people who everywhere they go,
No, yeah.
there's craziness.
Yeah.
And listen, we've all had our bouts with it. I've had my bouts with it. But there's people that goes on for years.
Oh, I know.
We all have
Yeah,
friends that there's, every time they go out, there's fucking drama. And people like shy away from those people. Like when I was growing up, I wouldn't shy away from them just on certain nights, but I keep tabs on them because I would live through them.
Right.
I love that shit.
Oh,
I love that
absolutely,
shit when people are
absolutely, yeah.
completely crazy and you wake up the next morning, people like call you up, like you wake up and there's 8 messages and you know something good happened last
Right,
night.
no, absolutely.
You know that it was, oh, what did he do last night? Oh, fuck, that's classic. And
Yeah.
people are pissed, but you have no idea what are you laughing about. You know what, dog? The guy peed in your living room and your parents were in there. That's classic on Christmas Eve.
If you had a choice, little titties or big titties, what would you take?
It Depends on the broad.
Little titties, big titties.
Sometimes the chick's got little titties, but she got tremendous monkey. It's just beautiful. It's circumference, its size, the deepness, the smell, everything is just beautiful.
Right.
So that's why sometimes it's like a guy with one arm. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes he's only got one arm, but the other arm is powerful as a motherfucker. Mr. Panacucci in high school had one arm, and
He had
a
one
shop
arm.
teacher. He got his arm blown off in Vietnam, but he was like a shop teacher.
Right.
But he had a stub. If that motherfucker ever hit you with that stub to the kidney, it was all over for you. He wouldn't even write you up. He'd just give you a little kidney punch with the stub. You were done. Mr. Panacucci.
Did he have like a fake hand on it?
No, he wouldn't.
He
What do you
just-
think? It was hand from fucking the planet, from Into the Dragon? No, he just had... How fucked up is that? You show up with like a fucked up hand with like a pointer
don't
finger
know.
or something? No, he would take the sleeve and put it in the jacket.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you always thought he had his hand in his sleeve. But he'd take it out and give you a fucking little nub, to the kidney.
And he was a shop teacher?
He's a shop teacher. in
How
high
did he
school.
hold the wood lathe or
With
whatever?
one hand.
Right?
He was with
Wow.
one hand. Fuck Bob Vila. That guy ain't got nothing on Mr. Panacucci.
I think he shouldn't tell people he got it blown off in Vietnam. He should have told people that this is what happens when you fuck around in shop.
No. That's what you... Can you imagine that? You were talking about irony last night.
Yeah.
How ironic is that your shop teacher in high school has one fucking arm and he lost it in Vietnam, but he's a shop teacher. He teaches you about cutting and lathes and fucking metal shop, and it was amazing. It was I love that. That's why in my high school on that wall on Facebook, what does it say? A good friend is someone you call to bail you out. A best friend who's the guy who's sitting next to you in the jail cell.
Yes.
You learn something new every day. You know what I'm saying? Here on Beauty and the Beast podcast. When we left Skin yesterday, we went to Chili's. We were starving. And we sat down. Felicia had a gin and tonic, and she started dropping knowledge like I never seen her drop knowledge. I thought I dropped coke. She just went on a fucking energy burst, and she hadn't eaten. It was like, you know when you smoke a joint with somebody and they're telling you a story, but they're not smoking the joint. She had this fajita in her fucking hand that she wouldn't bite into, and I was ready to bite her fucking fingers because she wouldn't bite it. But she told me something that was so beautiful and so pure that I thought about last night. You were talking about how in this business, in this earth, in this world, all we have is what we put out there. And sometimes we do things for money or whatever, but at the end of the week, you have to do them because you love them and how much you want to leave a legacy. And I don't know the exact words that you use, but it was one of the most prettiest things I've heard a woman ever say, because you have a purpose on this earth. You know, you want to leave a legacy. And I never heard it like that. People would say, hey, you're in a movie. Think about that. 50 years from now, even after you're dead, people are going to watch this movie and go, holy shit, you left something. Even if you were sweeping shit in the movie, even a fucking porno girl who's getting a cum shot to her eyeball, she left something on this planet.
How I feel,
you know,
yeah.
you documented you. And that was one of the beautiful speeches you heard. It's so weird how you were telling, we were talking about a certain situation, how there comes a point in your life when you shut down and you don't think you need to learn. You don't let inside information get into you. And it happens to a lot of people. And you've seen it happen. I mean, you've seen it. We're talking about certain situations, and it was so weird. Like, I had never looked at it like that. When you think you're on top of everything and you stop taking in information is how you worded it.
Yes.
Because you think you already got all the knowledge in the world. And I said to you, that's such a shitty way to live, because I don't want to hang out with somebody or do something unless I learn from it. Every fucking day we get emails about the volume. The fucking volume. Cocksuckers, we're learning here. We don't know what we're doing. Just keep listening. Listen to the heart. Listen to the energy that comes through the speakers. I don't know if you remember what you said yesterday. If you could just rekindle it a little bit.
Oh, no.
It was such a beautiful and pure conversation.
It was, well, I was saying to Joey, like, first of all, you know, we are both past 40, and I was saying to Joey, you know, it's so interesting to me to see as people get older, like some people just stop and they shut down, and it's weird when you're past 40 and you have some friends that are like 42 and they're like fucking grandpas and grandmas, and then you have some friends that are like 52 and they're out slaying the world, and you know what I mean? And what makes the difference is that the people that are still out and contributing are still curious and they're still taking information in. Like when I stopped doing comedy, it would have been very easy for me just to sit in my big fat house with my husband and veg out like a lot of women do. But it was like, I'm not built that way, and I want to keep taking information in. So I want to do photography. How do I do that? Take a class. Go sit next to the only photographer you know at a party and talk about their shoots. Like, you always have to take information, and you always have to read, and you always have to, well, you know, watching TV is fine. Like, I hate when people are like, you know, video games and TV are terrible. My kids play video games, and they know every weapon now. You know what I mean? From every war. You know what I mean? Like, but I mean, maybe it's not great, but they're taking information, and that's what you forget to do when you're an adult. You know what I mean? And if you're sitting at home and your life sucks and you got issues, it's because you've stopped taking information. Get up and start taking some information about anything.
It's so weird how society has changed. When we were growing up, our parents would stop ticking at 50. Not stop ticking, but their lives became very blasé at 50. And I'm going to be strictly honest with you. The last couple of years, the reason why I'm doing the things I'm doing is because I'm trying to get ready for when I'm 70. I want to be active when I'm 70. I want to be active when I'm 74 and fuck and eat ass and, you know, go to the Y and swim and not have a pain in my knee and not worry about diabetes and I can't have a piece of chocolate cake. I mean, there's going to be some complications. You know, I did acid for 2 years and did this and didn't take care of myself with the sleep apnea and the high blood pressure, but that's what I'm preparing for because it's not where you fucking start, it's where you finish. When I was 8 or 9, I used to go to baseball games with my mom. Did I tell you about that? And my mom knew a guy at Shea Stadium. So my mom and I would take a cab up. And these would be the hardest things for me, but she would pay me to go to the Met games with her. She would pay me like $30 plus fucking per diem, plus a hat and a bat. Yeah, I used to work her for this shit. Because I knew they were emotional fucking psychological beatings that she would inflict on me. And it started with she got out of a cab with a bell that she had stolen from my fucking Catholic school, right? That she had stolen because she thought that the bell would bring the Mets good luck in the 70s. You know, so she stole the fucking bell. So now that I'm with that bell that my mother pays big money to put me in private school, we get there, she goes to this window and she knocks, and some little old guy comes out that's been smoking cigarettes since he was 3. And she's like, Harry here. The guy would come out the door and he'd give my mom a hug. And then he would go, how many tickets? 2 seats. And my mom would put like 100 in his hand. And these days 100 was like 1,000 now.
Oh, yeah.
And he would walk my mom down to box seats. Just walk me, my mom, and whoever else came with us. It could be somebody from the bar. It could be my stepdad. It could be 2 of my mom's girlfriends with beers. My mom would have weed, but she wouldn't smoke it until we get there. And they would go up to like a family that was sitting there, a nice white family, and go, excuse me, can we look at your tickets? Then they go, these are the wrong tickets. You got to get out of here. And they would put us in those seats. This is crazy, a story I'm telling you. And the people would get up, and I'd be fucking ashamed. Because I knew the scam. This guy would do this every fucking 3 days with my mom. The guy would put you in different seats.
Right.
Where you sit here, you know, and all of a sudden they clean the seats off of my mom, and my mom would sit. And within minutes, my mom would start ordering beers and yelling, let's go, Mets. And I'd sit there all embarrassed and shit. Then she'd order chicken wings and throw the fucking bones at Rusty Staub. It was a fucking psychological, just, you know, it was just a...
That's an awesome story.
Why were you even talking about this shit?
Because I love when you tell stories about your mom.
So she would get drunk, and then she'd get beers for the whole section. And what would kill me, that here's this animal sitting in this nice section with dentists and white people. And by the end of the game, these white people were acting just like my mom.
Right.
She had them yelling and screaming and cursing and jumping up and down. And I would sit there like in amaze and embarrassment that my mom could control a section. Just like that. Like it was like a gift.
Yeah.
Like these people were all like bow tie wearing white people from Long Island. And by the end of the game, their bow ties were off. They were all cursing. They're smoking cigarettes. You know what I'm saying? And I would sit there like, how do you do this?
It's a gift.
It's a gift, you know.
By the way, you have that gift.
You think so?
Oh, absolutely.
How to get the party started.
You know how to get the party started. The party don't start till you're there.
Fuck it. You're absolutely right.
Tell me the fondest Christmas story that you have about your mother.
Fondest Christmas story. Fondest Christmas story. I tell you what is a great memory I have about my mom, just because of the circumstances. And to some people, this wouldn't seem like a Christmas story or a big story. because they lived through this. They had this. But to me, at the time, with what I knew, it was very big. I was about 5, and I was going to PS 166, and I was in kindergarten. And my mom had come through for me in kindergarten already. Like, she let the kids know we were bad motherfucking spics. You know what I'm saying? Like, there
Why?
was
How did she do that?
Well, that's a great question, because you're making me tear up. Talk about inspiration. Moms could change your life. Like that story you told about the kids turning your life around when you're in the bed.
Yeah.
Sometimes a mom does something, like not a hug or some bullshit thing that you hate when you're 5. Because when you're 5 and you're trying to be a kid and mom comes into school and wants to give you a hug, you want to knock that bitch out. You know what I'm saying? I'll fuck you up twice, Mom. Don't kiss me in front of my bitches
I
and
know.
shit, right?
The other day I patted Cruz, my son, on the butt.
Do not do
and
that.
at the bank, and he was like, Mom!
Oh, do not do
I'm
that.
very uncomfortable. I was all like, well, you don't have to yell at me. Like 4 people turn around like I was molesting him. Like, jeez, dude, sorry.
Oh, that's hysterical. Yeah, we get fucking fucked up when we're boys, you know. But I remember one time, it was like my birthday, and but you were allowed to bring like shit in the next day, and like all of these moms. I didn't know. I didn't even know my mom was going to show up or not. My mom at those times, she was a single mom, and I had a babysitter. And my mom basically worked all day and then worked this bar all night. I had no dad at the time. My dad was still in Sing Sing, my stepdad. And my mom was everything. She cleaned the house. She did this. She did that. And I knew that night she used to get twisted, dog. You know, I knew my mom got twisted. And I knew, but didn't know she did bumps.
Right.
I knew for sure she smoked dope. But I knew that my mom was not, you know, like I had to trick my mom in the mornings. I told you I had to move the alarm clock up.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah. I would say to her, Mom, I want to go out. And she'd go, give me 2 hours. And then I'd wait 10 minutes and move it up 2 hours. So, you know, I'd fuck with my mom to get her up out of bed. And I knew that. She's tough to wake up, you know.
Right.
So I'm sitting there all day, and like I put it out there. Like even then, I was kind of a very subtle kid. I put it out there, but really didn't. And I'll never forget, my birthday's February 19th. I'll never forget that. It's like, we get off, like in those days, you went to school half a day, 9 to 1. And then, but I remember like 1:45, my mom came in with like fucking a case of Coke in cans, which was huge.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
Your mom brought fucking cans, straws, and she brought a Carvel cake, one of those chocolate 3-layer cakes. Let me tell you something, those little fucking kids went nuts. Like, I was the coolest motherfucker ever. They hugged my mom. They hugged me. Moms sometimes make your day. But another thing she did at that time that was amazing, that I still had the pictures of growing up. I don't know what happened to them now. Again, I didn't know what condition my mom was going to be in the mornings.
Right.
It was always a 50-50 shot. You know what I'm saying? And one morning, I remember it snowed, one of those New York City snowstorms.
Right.
You know, and it snows in some parts of the country. Buffalo got 39,000 inches the other day. But those New York old school snowstorms, when they would paralyze the fucking city.
That's the best, and people play football
Yeah, people
Broadway.
play football, and there's no buses, and there's no newspapers, and nothing's fresh. You got eggs. People you going to Bambergers, not even, you going to ShopRite or whatever.
Yeah.
But I remember one of those locking up. It had to be 1970. And I still remember my mom waking me up and going, I went and walked 10 blocks and got you a sled. We're going to go sled riding. And she got me a sled. I remember her pulling me on Broadway and Amsterdam all the way to Central Park. But I remember even in my back of my mind going, she must be fucking hungover as hell. You know, so I knew what she was going through. It was harder for her than what. And I just respected that. Stories from Christmas past with Uncle Joey Diaz. So in the winter of '83, I'm living in Snowmass Village, and I'm a fucking recovering klepto. I mean, I was living in North Bergen, and the last year or two, I was in a klepto spree. I had an angle for everything. If you had a wrench, we could sell it. If you had a pot and pan, we could sell it. If you got a check from somebody down the corner for Social Security, I had a way to get you 10 cents on the dollar. I was always fucking making some scam. So society, life, that Jesus puts me in a town called Basalt, Colorado. I live in Basalt, Colorado. It's where Goldie Hawn lived with the boyfriend at the time and the 2 kids. I used to see a little young girl when she'd be at the old Conoco station,
Right.
old Snowmass. So at the time, I'm recovering in old Snowmass in Basalt. And I was,
Recovering from your kleptomania.
like for kleptomaniac, just stealing guns. It was just craziness. I got arrested for reefer in New York at the time. So I figured I'd go out to Colorado and chill out for a while.
Right. But
So
you're recovering, not hiding.
no, I'm recovering and hiding. I got like
Okay.
1,800. I bummed off a loan shark, and I went out there and I'm living in this condo in Old Basalt, and I'd walk around, and they had weights downstairs, and everybody was eating natural, and it was just great. It was just a different lifestyle for me. You know, I had gone from 79, from having a home, to 83 and just being a fucking nomad, you know? So the thing happens that we're going to give up the house, and me and my buddy Jimmy are going to move to Snowmass Village, Colorado. Snowmass Village, Colorado is 3 miles into the mountains, and it's a criminal's paradise. I mean, no security cameras, people wave, hello. You know, I'm walking around for a month sweating fucking bullets. And finally, by September, I just break down, I break into this business, you know. And I get them for, you know, $2,000. I go buy steep speakers. And then they used to have these condos for sale. I was living in this bed. We had a 2-bedroom condo that was gorgeous with no furniture. We had a TV. We sat on milk crates. My bed was on milk crates, and I had nothing. And all of a sudden, I'd walk by this condo every day, and there were condos for sale, and they had model condos with furniture and clothing and towels. One night I went in there with my buddy. We stole everything. You should have seen our apartment. It was like something out of Let's Make a Fucking Deal. You know what I'm saying? We had covers and bed covers and curtains. I mean, and the town was in shock. Like, who could have done this? We had everything. Towels, I had robes. There were cigars in the robes. You ever seen it? It was fucking classic. Okay. So I'm like, this town you could rob with. So I keep, I'm addicted to this, you know. Now I find out this is like a drug dealer's paradise where I live. All these little individual drug dealers with 8 balls and shit. So I get a job. I had 1,000 jobs then. I went from being an electrical helper to a mason, this helper, because there's a seasons of skiing, you know, so people change careers really
Right.
quick. So I got a job shoveling snow in front of my building, in front of these buildings, in front of all these drug dealers. So basically, I got paid $13.50 an hour to case the joints, and I figured out a way, a tool, to bust into their doors and whatnot. So I was just stealing coke out of all these houses and all these cash out of these things. It was amazing. So what would happen was I would transform. I would try to go out as a human being like Joe Coco Diaz, you know, and be a normal white kid. And I go to a bar and I get, like, in those days I used to drink Southern Comfort and orange juice. And I get 3 or 4 of those motherfuckers in me, and I had to rob something. Like, I would just lose my mind. It was fucking crazy.
I was wondering what your drink was because I don't see you drink.
That was then.
Oh,
I go through periods. At that time, I used to go through periods. Whiskey sours, Jack Daniels and Coke. I haven't had Jack Daniels in 30 years. Jack Daniels and Coke, never again. Since New Year's 1980, the B-52s and a couple Quaaludes. Never again. You know, I went through, you know, gin and tonic was that was the
Yeah.
longest. I love gin and tonic. I could still smell it sometimes. I could still remember all the drama. But at that particular time, December of 83, it was Christmas Eve, 1983, going into 84. And the town was kicking. Snowmass Village was kicking. And at that time, I knew some business owners, and I knew what was going on in the area. And I'm at this bar having a couple fucking Southern Comfort and orange juice. And I go from being Joey Coco Diaz into being Wolfman, thief by night.
Right.
And the first place I hit is this fucking cheese shop upstairs that I had hit everything. It was like an ATM machine. Whenever I needed money, I'd just kick in the back door. They didn't even have like a security, nothing. And I go in there, they always had like $300-400. And I went into this one night and took them for $800. And then I went to like this jewelry thing next door and kicked the door down there and took a couple watches. And then I stumbled down the court, and there was this fucking pharmacy / 7-Elevens type thing. And I just ripped the door open. This is how secure. It was nothing. It was a mom and pop operation. And I remember the safe was open, and they had another safe. And I remember carrying the safe home in the snow and being half drunk, and I just left it there and walked home. And so, and the next day, I remember waking up, hungover, feeling like shit. I would do coke too. I would buy $50 worth of coke and go home, listen to Pat Benatar, and just pass out, you know, and drink at home and just pass out, try to jerk off, whatever the fuck I would do. And I'll never forget that the next day I stumbled down to City Market, and right in the cover of the front page it says, mall burglarized Christmas Eve. And I looked at this, and part of me was proud. I made the paper, you know what I'm saying? But the other half, I was so fucking embarrassed.
Oh, really?
That they had that documented.
Yeah.
So I had my buddy Mike Roebuck, who's a newspaper guy, try to get the archives a couple of years ago, and he says that they break them apart after 20 years.
Oh, really?
But I made that front cover. It said, mall burglarized Christmas Eve. 3 businesses were burglarized on Christmas Eve.
Right.
And then I tried. I had just become this fucking drug little lord. I was stealing little, ounces of hash. And one night, how they got me was
Who got you?
How the cops even suspected me. I was going on a tear. I went on a tear from September of '83, and now it was January of '84, and I probably had 10,000 cash stocked away, and I kept sending drugs and jewelry to the East Coast. And my buddies were selling it and sending me back the money. And what I was doing was I was planning on going back for my birthday, but I was going to come back. I was just going to go home and spend the 10,000 on coke and then come back. And one day I actually went out one night to burglarize this drug dealer, and it was snowing. And I got there, and I went through the front of his house, and there was back doors, the sliding doors, and the first thing I would do is always slide the doors open so I was always ready. But I heard a car pull up, and I seen the lights, and I ran, and I didn't slide that last mosquito gate.
Right.
And I went through the mosquito gate and fell on the snow. And there was like 2-3 feet of snow, so I got up and started running. And I ran home, and that was it. About 2 hours later, I got a knock on my door. It's the cops. And they're like, did you go out tonight? I'm like, no, I've been home all night. And I'm like, that's funny because there's a trail of snow that, that leads to your door. Can we look at your boots? And I'm like, yeah. And all of a sudden, there they are. The snow's melting on them. And they're like, you said you haven't been out. And I'm like, I was out, the heat and hand. They're like, I'm fucking sweating.
Right.
So they knew right then and there. So I knew that trip I was taking back for my birthday was going to be like a little vacation because they already knew now.
Right.
They were starting to put 2 and 2 together. You're the guy from New York.
Yeah.
You've been in a couple of places where things have disappeared.
Right.
So I knew they had me.
So that's what happened.
They didn't arrest me, but now I knew that they were on to me, so I had to behave myself.
You guys should see when he just said because I had to behave myself and you did your hair nice.
Sure. I had to behave myself like a little Captain Boy again. You know what I'm saying? And I stayed all right for like 3 weeks. Everybody had their eye on me. They suspected me now because I had robbed a couple of different people that knew each other. Like people were like, fuck, I'm missing the ounce from my house. So was I a couple of days ago. So people were like, what the fuck? And I knew everybody's schedule. Everybody either skis in the daytime or.
So did you leave the next day?
No, I waited like 2 weeks. I laid low, and then I went back. And then when I went back, my buddy called me. He goes, bro, a couple people asked. They know that you were doing something.
Right.
They just can't put their finger on it. But if you leave and don't come back and nothing gets robbed, then they're going to know it's you. So I left for like 8 months, and they figured it out.
Right.
But the crime wave was Joey Coco Diaz.
Do you ever worry about sharing these stories that you're going to get in trouble? That's one of the emails we got.
Yeah, that's one of the emails we got. Well, what are you going to do, If you want to get me now for whatever, first of all, I give you circumstantial bullshit, So
right.
You want to come and arrest me and put me
Because you could be full of shit, right? You could just plead
that
I'm full of shit.
Yeah, I'm just full of shit.
I had a Christmas once when my mother died. She died right before Christmas, and I was working in Houston at the Laugh Stop. And remember the lady that used to own the Laugh Stop?
Margie.
Yeah. Did we talk about this before?
Yeah.
But I had been Christmas shopping for my mom during the day when I was there, and then and I went to go pick up something I knew she would love, and for some reason it would cost a lot of money, and I was like, I'm gonna come back, I don't know why, and tomorrow I'll get it. And I put it back, and then the club owner came and said that my mother had passed away, and that was a pretty fucked up Christmas.
That was a mental thought you made too when you picked up that thing. That's very.
Yeah. But then I had this one time my mom used to go to this bar because we lived in Fountain, Colorado. I can't remember the name of the bar, but it was a shithole. And I knew, this is the first time I realized that my mom, when I had sleepovers, was out doing something, you know, because I was at home and she's like, I gotta go by the bar and at the corner and the Dewdrop Inn or something like that.
And she would go in a wheelchair?
No, this is before this is like when I was like 12, because she got in a wheelchair when I was about 15. And but she was always kind of sickly, but I just thought she just laid around all the time, but every once in a while she would go out. And she's like, I lost my watch at this bar. So in the middle of a blizzard in Colorado, because we didn't have a car, we had to walk to go to this bar, and it was snowing, it was terrible, and go inside. And I remember that was the first time I was in a bar, you know what I mean? And my mom's like, I lost my watch, and we had to look around the parking lot, and then we went and bought a Christmas tree, and she made me carry the fucking Christmas tree home, drag it home, because she was all like, I don't feel well.
What you would do to be right there at this time in your life, just to go right
absolutely.
back to that point, I would give. It's amazing how sometimes you're like, man, I wish I could go back to that minute.
Yeah.
Just for 1 minute, just to get that.
But see, if I went back to that minute, it would be me dragging that fucking Christmas tree through the snow and flipping her off in my mitten behind her back. You know what I mean? I used to flip my mom off in all fucking seriousness. I would just gently close the door and I'd be like, fuck you, bitch. And now I do it to my kids. You know what I mean? You have to go to a timeout and I can't talk to you until you've calmed down. I close the door and I'm like, fuck you, dickhead. Some things never change.
What's the most fucked up thing that happened to you on Christmas?
The most fucked up thing, that was probably it. My mother, having to deal with my mother and go identify the body. You know? That was pretty fucked up. And having to go through her shit.
Man.
It's a weird thing to go through your parents' stuff. Especially when you're young. You know? You're like, wow. A cock ring. You know, when you're old enough to identify the shit and you're like, oh.
Well, that'll fuck you up. You find like a cock ring when you're 6. That'll fuck with you till you're 50. You're like, why did my mom have a fucking cock ring? Who could have been fucking my mom with a cock ring?
Why is there so much Vaseline in the house? Why is that?
By the way, the week of December 20th, we're switching RRS feeds.
Yes.
So that's what we're doing. So there'll be no podcast the week of December 20th, but don't go nowhere. We'll be back the following week, pre-New Year's, with our fucking whole New Year's kabang end of the year show. You understand me? Plus details on new Beauty and the Beast events and things going on for 2011. It's here. You're going into the new year with us.
God damn, you're sexy when you sell.
Come on, baby. So don't forget about us. We're just taking a week off to switch the feeds and all this so the sound gets better and everything gets adjusted. And for 2011 will be a lot better for you guys. That's all we're doing. So don't go nowhere. Don't bail on us. Don't believe the rumors. We're not like the Beatles. John's leaving. Ain't nobody going fucking nowhere. The guy came up to me, Felicia, in San Jose, and he was very sweet. He was no fucking Dexter, you know. He was a computer guy, if I had to guess, or he sold insurance. And he came up to me, and he goes, Joey Diaz, and he knew about me. He said something to me about prison or kidnapping, and he shook my hand, and he goes, and he had something under his arm. And he goes, is Felicia with you? And it's really weird. I don't know if he thought we were boyfriend, girlfriend. I don't know. He goes, she's not. And he was kind of disappointed. I go, why? What's up? And he goes, I just really wanted her to sign this.
Aww.
And he bought on eBay the edition of Playboy that you were in. And it was so weird that I looked at him, and he wasn't a pervert. He wasn't the guy from the 938 caliber killer. He wasn't going to shoot people with blonde wigs. He was like a collector. He listened to the podcast, and he knew some history about you. And I was really sorry that you weren't there. And I told him I remember his name, but I don't remember his name. But a different guy emailed and said that he went to see you in Montana, and he brought a Playboy with him,
Oh yeah.
And
yeah,
he
yeah.
wanted, his wife wouldn't let him sign it, and now he feels like a fucking schmuck. So from when I got back from San Jose, that guy's email was in there. So it was really nice. And when I told you on the phone, my point being that when I told Felicia on the phone about what the guy had done, it was like, it made your day. Like you would have liked to meet him just to say thank you for thinking that of me. You were so appreciative. And I told a couple people, and they were like, dog, Felicia fucking looks badass, dog. That bitch is tight.
Well,
And I'm looking
at
at
one
you now.
time I was.
I'm looking at you now, and it's amazing. Like your cheekbones look fucking beautiful. You look like, we got to put you on the cover or something right there by your little jaw. I can see a little Cuban egg roll right there on your cheek and stuff.
We should do that. Yeah. Take pictures for that. Should be our next Beauty and
Well,
the
you're
Beast
doing
pictures.
like advertising for like L'Oreal. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck Queen Latifah. I vote for you for L'Oreal. Though.
You know, that's what's so funny about Playboy is I never mentioned it to people after 6 months after it was out, because I was kind of embarrassed that I had done it, or I thought people would judge me or whatever. But lately I'm all like, at the kids' school, like, excuse me, Pastor Don, did you know I was in Playboy? I mean, I tell fucking everybody now.
Good for you. Fuck it. That's
No.
a.
I put it up on my dating profile when I was on the internet dating. Isn't that's so pathetic? But you know what? Got me some dates.
Well, you know what's funny? Like I met Barbie Benton, and she was very sweet. And then I came to LA, and every chick that I met involved with Playboy or whatever was kind of fucking goofy.
Really?
Yeah, like they used to come to the Comedy Store and watch comedy with Hef, and then they go back in their limo and take off. And there were like always these three that just didn't even want to hang out with Hef. They were hiding from him the one night, and they were talking shit. It was crazy, but they're like, and then I met you a while ago, and I had known about Playboy, I think, afterward. It really didn't matter to me one way or another. But it's just weird. I went to the mansion to do like comedy shows for Tom Likas and stuff.
Uh-huh.
It was crazy. It wasn't my patois. It would have been when I was 21 with an 8-ball and a fucking knife in my pocket.
Right.
'Cause that's the only way to go. But at that
You
time,
would have been a one-man crime wave at the
yeah,
Playboy
yeah,
Mansion.
they would have fucking had to shoot me on sight, But I don't know. It was just really weird that you were involved with all that, and it's.
Well, I had it was like, it's a weird thing because, I've never been to the mansion.
That's amazing.
Isn't that weird? But at the time when it came out, like, I could have, but I just was, like, I just wanted to do it and not be, because I did it a little bit older. I think when I did it, I was like 28, 29, and most girls do it in their early 20s, I think. And I was just at that point where it just was fun to do. They paid me, but I wasn't that interested in living in that circle. And then my friend Michelle just went, they had the big Halloween party, and she had an extra ticket, and I was begging her, please give me the ticket, I want to go to the Playboy Mansion. I have to cross it off my list now. So if anyone's out there and can get me into the Playboy Mansion, I should at least step my fucking foot in the Playboy Mansion.
I'm telling you, they got to start a Facebook page and put Felicia back in Playboy.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to start a Facebook page like we did with Betty White. So get it together, people. Let's start like a Facebook page. Let's get Felicia Michaels back in Playboy. Hey guys, this show is brought to you by Skin Industries Action Clothing, a leader in sports action apparel. You can find their line of beautiful clothing at www.skinindustries.com. Take that to the bank.
By the way, email us at Beauty and the Beast podcast
At gmail.com. Please, any ideas, anything you have that inspires you. I know we talked about inspiration. Before you get fucking motivated, you got to see what's cracking out there.
That's right. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Stay black. Have a great week.
Mwah.